Do you have Facebook?
I have an iPad that has Facebook on it, so I do have it. And I didn't get any instruction book with it.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you stay in touch with friends and family?
Well, by telephone mostly, or I go see them or see them in church or someplace. Yeah.
Telephone. Telephones
The telephone.
and personal visits.
Texting. I really don't. Like I'll call them or see them.
I think I stay in touch the most just with my phone, just texting or calling.
Through my cell phone,
How?
text messaging.
And it's more personal. It gives you a face-to-face contact if you're talking with a person in person or on the telephone. You can hear their voice. You can hear inflections in their voice that will help you understand more about what they're thinking or saying than if you were to get an email.
I'd much rather talk to them personally or by the telephone versus email. Email is my last choice.
Do you think you would stay in touch with your Facebook friends if you didn't have Facebook?
No. I think just because we interact as much as we like on the telephone.
Not particularly.
No. How come?
Well, because I don't use my Facebook that much.
Yeah.
I can look at it, but then I really don't quite know how to reply on the Facebook.
I think my generation especially uses Facebook to kind of keep tabs on a wide range of friends. So especially the people who I went to high school with and have now graduated, I probably don't even have half of their cell phone numbers.
Do you think computer-mediated communication affects people's relationships?
I think they affect it generally in a good way. I think you can do a lot, like you have a little more chance to kind of have, like, think out what you need to say to them when you like type it on the computer rather than when you're just saying it.
I think if I relied on it for my only communication, then I wouldn't have a strong relationship and it would be superficial. But I think if you already have a strong relationship and you're already putting time into maintaining that relationship, then Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it can be kind of something to complement the relationship and enhance it. But I think a lot of people rely on it for kind of everything, and I think it could get really isolating to do that.
Yeah, I think it does. I think people get used to texting and Facebook and the language that they then start to talk with when they get in person to person communication. It's weaker. Like,
Sure.
How do you think it affects it for the good or bad?
Probably both. I don't think it's as good as, say, an interpersonal relationship where you are sort of interacting on real time.
Okay, how come?
Just because I think there's something about that interaction, the dynamic of the interaction, that enhances the relationship. And I think you miss that on the digital communication.
First of all, I think that Facebook allows some people to go beyond what may need to be said, and I don't feel like I have that much of my private life that I want to open up to my so-called friends on Facebook.
With my friends, it makes it better. I think, yeah.
How come?
Because you can kind of still, whenever you're like not hanging out with them, you can still stay in touch with them, even though if it's like not directly to you, you can still stay in touch with them.
Then if you've seen those people, you don't have to have a conversation with them. So what you're doing is communicating, but not with your voice.
In my own situation, I would feel that Facebook could sometimes cause misunderstandings or things could be said that would
Be misinterpreted or understood.
would give away personal information about people that shouldn't be divulged.
Our generation lacks communication skills person to person.
Around the table, they're all looking at their little iPods, their iPhones or whatever, and they don't enter into the conversation. And so where you used to have a lot of conversation, and that was where you exchanged ideas with each other. Now you do it on Facebook, so you don't have to do it around the table.
They don't want to dial a telephone or text if they can do something on Facebook.
Do you think there are negative effects or drawbacks of computer-mediated communication?
I think there's some basic aspects of building a relationship that are lost in a non-personal communication. I mean body to body, face to face communication through Facebook that need to happen at some point in time if a strong relationship, say between a man and a woman, is going to develop. Doing it just by Facebook, I don't think is enough. There needs to be more to it than that.
Maybe it just ruins like people skills, not being able to interact with people as well in person.
I think it's better when you see people face to face, because you can see the expressions on their faces and the inflection in their voices and the way their eyes look, the way their body acts.
Yes, I think it's always better to be to like talk to somebody face to face. I think you get more direct answers and whatnot.
Yeah, I think a lot of times like people will say things on the computer and they don't realize how many people see it. And so they have in mind a certain group they want to see it, but then all sorts of people see it.
People my age, I think you have to take a back seat or else go back to school.
Yeah.
I'm going to be left behind is what I'm saying, because I depend on the old way of doing things, and I'm not up to date on the new things. And they're coming on so fast that I couldn't keep up with it anyway. And then another thing, I don't care.
People, around my age or younger, I think it can be a little bit of a danger for their relationships because I think you often say things online that you wouldn't be willing to say to someone's face, or you, I think it's becoming this trend to kind of seem like your life is the very best. A lot of feelings can get hurt by feeling excluded from something that, friends are posting on Instagram or whatnot. So I think there's a lot of unintended consequences to the computer social media.
Well, I say that since you are on Facebook and find out everything with each other, you don't have to get together. And your social life almost comes to an end. You're almost an entity in yourself